You know, there are perks to aging. You become wiser, happier, balder, but there may also be downfalls, like dementia or other brain disorders. Now, in these instances, driving can become dangerous and deadly. You'll see what I mean if you look at this video.
A New York State trooper is being credited with saving several people who were caught in the path of a wrong-way driver.
Joseph Dorsley was caught on cell phone video barreling north in the southbound lanes about 3 p.m. The 86-year-old Spring Valley grandfather was lost in his own hometown, the onset of dementia taking an unexpected toll on his memory just blocks from his house.
He dropped my mom off to church, and he couldn't find his way back home. So he has been driving since 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's 9 hours before Trooper John DeVoe spotted him on the thruway heading north into Orange County in the southbound lane.
I knew what I had to do. I had to shut down the lanes and hopefully somehow get him to slow down or stop.
Joseph Dorsley stopped when he saw the trooper out of his car. He was treated at a hospital and will not be driving again.
He's done. We're not gonna let him drive anymore.
Well, I want to talk about this dementia, so I invited my good friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall, Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer, to join in the conversation. So, thank you. I wanted you to help me out with a question that we got from a viewer, and she's here to ask us about help for her mother. So tell me your question.
Well, my mother is 86 years old, lives alone. I'm 1,000 miles away from her, and she does have dementia. She is still driving. She does fairly well, but she gets to the point now where sometimes she forgets where she's going and she has to turn around and come back. She does not want to give up driving in any way, shape, or form. And my question to you is, how do I keep the relationship between her and I going when I have to say to her, Mom, it's time to go into assisted living. Mom, it's time to give up driving.
Dr. Frida, help us understand dementia so you get a grasp of exactly, and everybody else out there, exactly what we're talking about.
Dementia is a group of symptoms. It can be characterized by declines in memory, in thinking skills, in language, and in behavior. And these declines are so severe that they begin to negatively affect or interfere with everyday activities, and that includes driving. And dementia can be related to a number of illnesses. Alzheimer's is very common, as are strokes, as a cause of dementia.
So how do you know, but this is what Terry's dealing with now, how do you know when it's time to take the keys away from a parent, where they want to give them up or not? How do you know when it's time to take the keys away from a parent?
So, first of all, I want to remind everybody that we are not talking about age and driving. This is really around the effect of dementia on driving. And there are a few driving behaviors that are not uncommon in people who have dementia that we should keep a lookout for that kind of give us these hints. The first is failing to obey traffic signs and signals. The second is making poor or slow decisions on the road or in traffic. Speed is an important reminder. So driving at an inappropriate speed, and that can be too fast, as we just saw, or it can be too slow. Yeah. We also notice that people become angry, disoriented, confused, agitated when they drive sometimes. And then last but not least, and Terry mentioned this, getting lost in familiar places.
Terry, have you tried to talk to your mother about, I mean, have you said anything to her about it?
Oh, yes. We've been very forthright, yes. And unfortunately, she tells me she knows when it's time. She'll know when it's time to give up driving and to give up her home. That may very well possibly be true, but she's also keeping things from me now. And I'm finding out through neighbors and friends, such as she did have an accident. It was not her fault, but she didn't tell me. I found out 6 months later, and the car was totaled.
Right. So what do you suggest she say to her mother? Give us some of the, it's not an easy way to do it, but some of the best way to do it.
Yeah, there's no easy way, but for people who are in Terry's situation, we often suggest a few things. First of all, you should have these conversations as early as possible. I know it feels easier to wait, but early is better. Also, independence is key. So offering alternatives that maintain activity and independence are important. And also, appealing to their sense of responsibility for the safety of others may sometimes be the thing that'll tip the scale in this. And we often tell people, remember, this is probably not one conversation. This is a series of very difficult and challenging conversations with lots of resistance and pushback. So you may want to call in reinforcements.
Right.
And who are they? Family members can help out with this, or trusted advisors in the community, the physician, clergy, the family attorney, or really close family friends.
Right. And as a last resort, you may need to just consider taking away the car keys, disabling the car, or removing the car completely, right? I mean, you got to do what you have to do.
So these are such hard decisions and such hard conversations, but what we're really talking about here is safety. So there are resources to help. And in fact, on gethealthystayhealthy.com, we have some tips that help families have these very difficult conversations. And of course, more information on dementia, because sometimes that helps frame it as well.
Yeah, and we went through some things quickly, but those things are all on gethealthystayhealthy.com, so the checklist will be there. I want to thank all of my guests today, especially Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. For more information on today's show, you can visit drphil.com and check out gethealthystayhealthy.com. It is a great place to be. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.